This was done the night of the Raz, when Raz opened up. And it was done before the show. So he does, I think he talks about, in the show later, so that's what he means. All right. Next week is Johnny Winter. That's a real interesting interview. Don't miss that. That's the 31st, a week from tonight at 9 o'clock. Johnny Winter will be talking about things you would never think he would talk about. That's all I have to say. Listen to that. We're going to, I'm going to play this interview with no music. It's going to be like, straight talking. So I do want to play a couple tunes from Frank Marino if you've never heard him. And if you haven't heard him, I guess his big thing, or what a lot of people, think is his big thing, is that he does sound like Jimi Hendrix. That's his big thing, and a lot of people have been saying this in reviews of him, and that seems to be his hype. And of course, being his hype, he's the first to deny all this. So, well, here's a tune by him. This is not one of the more blatant Hendrix sounding tunes. Some of his earlier albums are just like, some of the tunes are just, note for note. Almost note for note. This is from one of his newer albums, and after this I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the interview and play you, tell you about what we start off talking about, because, well, you'll see. Anyway, this is a tune from one of his newer albums, Mahogany Rush 4. This is an example of Frank Marino. That was Frank Marino, a tune called I'm Going Away from his Mahogany Rush 4 album. And they're doing a Mahogany, we're running a Mahogany Rush interview. It was already done. We'll get to that in just a minute. Let me tell you about it. First of all, I'll explain one thing. He is eating a sandwich during this interview, and if you hear him munching on something, that's what he's doing, and I can't very well ask him to stop eating his sandwich, right? Kind of gets things off to a bad start, so that's what he's doing. So he is articulate. Well, he speaks okay, anyway. I don't know how articulate he is. Anyway, another thing that, speaking of asking him things, first thing when I went in there, I wanted to find out about this Hendrix thing. I wanted to get his side of the story. So I went in there and I said, this was before the interview was on, I said, "You're not tired of talking about Hendrix, are you?" He said, "Yup." So you don't want to talk about it? Nope. And I said, "Oh, well, I'll ask you about it, and if you don't want to answer, that's fine." He sort of nodded his head. One thing I did want to ask him about, and I didn't ask him right away, about the Hendrix thing, since it would seem to get off to a bad start, I asked him about an interview I read. The reason I'm explaining this is because I don't, go through in the interview what the interview is about that I read. I just asked him about it. The interview, what we're talking about right off in the beginning of the interview, is a guitar player thing he did, Guitar Player magazine. And I don't know whether the guy misquoted him, or I don't exactly remember if this was a quote or not, but the story was that Frank Marino learned how to play guitar by taking about 25 hits of acid, and when he woke up in the hospital, he could play the guitar. So this, I think, merits asking about. So that's what I asked him about right off. So that's what we're talking about in the beginning of the interview. So that's what we're talking about. This is before we get into the interview. Excuse me. Let me play another tune. This is a little more blatantly Hendrix, and we're not going to play the whole thing, but here's just an example, and then we will hear the interview. All right. With me here, talking hopefully, is Frank Marino of Mahogany Rush. And one of the things that really got my interest, and I haven't been a fan since way back, I must admit, just because I haven't heard much, but it was when I read a Guitar Player interview. You remember that? Mm-hmm. And the thing that the thing that caught my interest was when you were talking about how you first played, the thing with the hospital. Mm-hmm. You could tell that story once again.
I can't do that.
You can't?
No, but I can tell you why.
All right.
You see, If anyone wants to know those stories, they can go look up those Guitar Player magazines or any of the 1,000 papers that it appeared in. The point was this: it was very misconstrued. Half the people didn't believe it, and the other half the people labeled me with it. And I've tried very hard for a long, long time now to get rid of that whole Hendrix thing and that whole acid thing. Although true, I won't support it anymore.
Well, for the people who maybe haven't heard your stuff yet, what is truth?
Well, the truth is I'm a musician who does music, like what I do. I can't go through that again, I just can't. It's just going to turn more people onto it again. I don't wonder if they never find out. I'm glad, Not that I'm ashamed of it, but it just caused so much controversy and so much bull, I just couldn't take it anymore. I got tired of getting sick of it,
So what do you do in your act that's different that might try and change people's minds? I mean, you play Purple Haze on the live album.
Yeah, sometimes we play that if we get a second encore. Like that. But we just basically do our live album and some songs that didn't come out on the live album.
Why did people get this idea? Because of things other people said? Or was it
the press, the media. I'm really, it's a little war between me and the press. I don't like the press.
I noticed you said on the live album something about
I've seen what I really said before they edited it.
This is just radio too?
No, I'm more, I'm more open to radio because, I don't know, radio, you get a guy, you have things that happen on the radio, but you don't get some guy who will get on the radio and start giving you all his opinions, cutting the heck out of you. I'm really not, angry at radio as much as the press. I don't like the press. I don't like writers. They're jerks.
They falsify what you're doing?
Yeah, they're all jerks. They don't come to report what they've seen or what they've heard. They come to get a chance to, invent things or something. It's like they're frustrated that every time they go to interview somebody or go to review somebody, it's not that they want to report what happened. They're going there to come back and have a chance to give their own ideas, They want to get them out so much, and they just look for every opportunity to do it. Half the time their ideas are very degrading, and I don't like them as a rule.
See, there's nothing true in what they said. They said, if I remember, they said you were trying to sound like Hendrix or whatever.
Never was trying. They said all kinds of things, believe me.
I mean, you sing like them. I don't know if it's purposely, but
they said so many different things that it just doesn't bother me anymore. I don't give a shit what they say.
Well, getting back to the beginning, I guess. I mean, was Hendrix were you a big Hendrix fan?
No, not exceptionally.
How come you dedicated the album to him?
Because, by that time, we'd already done it, the album, and we'd already played a lot, and I was into him. And people had convinced me so much at that point that the influence was there. At first I didn't think the influence was there,
Well, you liked him, didn't you?
Yeah, but that it sounded like that,
What did you think of him as a guitar player?
Good. It's all right. Not the best technician in the world.
What was his strong points, you think?
His writing, his mind, not his guitar playing.
Self-expression, not so much.
Honesty. Very honest. Very down-to-earth fellow. Most people would say, no, it wasn't. It was way up there.
Did you meet him?
No.
You would have liked it, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Were you, when did you start the band? Was this after Hendrix? Was this all after Hendrix was doing it?
No. The band started in, I guess 71. June 30th, 71 was our first gig. But, it's getting there. June 30th, 71 was our first gig, but we had been together for a year before that, fooling around.
What kind of stuff did you do back then?
Just jamming. Used to jam this and that and this.
Same guys, right?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we used to jam King once we did on the live album.
You used the same guys all along, is that you were all friends before the band?
No, we sort of met as the band formed. We were all just friends, kids. Yeah.
How old were you when you first started playing guitar?
I was about 14, imagine.
How old are you now?
23.
And you took lessons? Did you take lessons?
No.
Just picked it up and you copied records?
Didn't have any records. That's what most people don't understand. Most people don't believe the story about me playing guitar and, all this stuff. I mean, I didn't have any records. I didn't have a record player, and I don't even have one today. And I never did.
Where'd you live?
I lived with my mother.
No, back then.
I lived with my mother.
And what made you want to play guitar?
I needed a release, my head was all really screwy from drugs, and I guess I just had to express myself.
So when did you think you started playing good?
Never knew, I was so high, and I never knew. Just sort of, the years passed, and I started to come down. I never fully came down, I'll always be high. It's been 10 years I've been high, and I think.
Do you think people can learn on their own? Most people.
Anybody can do it.
What do you do? Just form with your fingers?
I think you just know you can do it, Not believe it, but know it.
It's a matter of practicing and learning.
Yeah, let's put it this way. You know you can reach up and touch your head. They don't believe you can do it. You know it, so you don't even try. You know what I mean? It's like it's natural.
So when you played the guitar, you obviously had no lack of confidence.
I just knew I could. Like it was second nature,
You think you would have been that way if you didn't trip so much? Or?
No. Tell you the truth, no. I don't think I would have been so. See, because I was so unaware of my limitations. I was so aware of everything on the drugs. The drugs that teach you how to play guitar. That's one of the things that they get wrong every time.
That's the guitar player.
No. Drugs never taught me nothing. How can a drug teach you something? He doesn't have a mind. You know what I mean?
What is acid done for you then, would you say?
Well, acid did nothing for me, but the taking of acid and being high on it, my mind did a lot of things for itself, by being placed in a state of mind that I have to do something about, or go crazy one way or the other. I certainly didn't want to go crazy.
You think you still trip? I don't know if you mind saying this on the radio.
No, I don't do anything anymore.
Why not?
Too high.
When was
3-4 years?
Realized that?
It took me 3-4 years to just be able to. Well, it took me 1 year to be able to walk again. Walk around and eat and feed myself.
Is it too much at once?
Yeah. And then as the years went by, I started to. I was afraid for many years. I was always trying to come down. But then gradually learned to accept it now.
Did you do this all by yourself?
Yeah, all by myself. Had to. Tried doctors, they don't know. Not about that, they don't. But religion helped me a lot,
Religion?
Oh, yeah.
You're there now?
Yeah, deep Christian.
Do you think people need something in general? I mean, drugs or religion or something to keep themselves going?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, you went drugs to religion and then safe as hell.
I think people need truth. That's what I think.
You don't think they can find it by themselves?
Sure. But I think they need it. Whether they find it or someone shows it to them, I think they need it.
Have you found it?
Oh, yeah, lots of truths. Lots of truths. Not a lot of falsehoods I had to get rid of, But I think that's what people need more than anything. Truths. We're living in such a lie, Everything's a lie, from the physical world right to the spiritual, Like there's just a lot of lies there. Not lies or made lies by people, but things aren't. What I'm saying is things aren't what they seem all the time,
The religion is how?
Religion is the truth,
So it still helps you find truth. That's why you're still into it?
Well, no, I'm not still into it because it helps me. I'm into it because it's the truth, It's like, I breathe, from day to day. Because it's true, I do it.
You do it.
Yeah, it's like, I do it when I'm sleeping and everything, I breathe because it's something that's happening. Religion is the truth, it's there. It's not something I choose or not choose, it's there, it's me. It's part of me.
What about music? You think music can help? What has music done for you?
Give me the chance to express some of these views and put them on some kind of a device that will make them re-expressible.
Was that the world anthem thing?
Or records in general, you know.
What was that about, the world anthem?
It was part of my ideas about what it should be.
I mean, when you write liner notes, like in the world anthem explaining, do you think people take it seriously?
I don't care if they do or not. I don't, you know, I write those notes because they're truths, you know, and I feel like writing them. And if I knew that everybody in the world would throw a stone at me for saying something, but I wanted to say it, I'd say it. I don't care. I'm not afraid to die.
Do you think you could say as much without vocals? You're the vocalist too.
Well, I can express as much without vocals. It depends on who can hear it, you know.
What can you express through your guitar? When you write a song and you play the guitar, do you just play what comes, or do you sit down and think about it?
No, I just play what comes, and then it sort of tells me what it was, you know. It means something, and I don't really know it consciously right away. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it means. It's like, see, like I said, I could express, but depends who hears it or how people hear. If I put this piece of bread right here, and I put it on the table here, and I give you pencil and paper, and I take a pencil and paper, and we both draw it, we'll be drawing the same thing, but our pictures will be totally different because where you're sitting and where I'm sitting are two different angles. But yet we're drawing the same thing. Although if I showed the two pieces of paper to someone and said, do these two things look like the same thing? They'd say no, but actually they would be. You see, seen from different angles.
So when you do something, are you doing it strictly from your angle, or are you trying to...
When I do something, I try to do it as honestly as I can. The only way I know how. I just do what I have to do. Now, lots of people will see these things in different ways or hear these things in different ways. They're all hearing the same thing. And eventually, everyone will get together and know that they've seen the same thing. Some way or another, it'll click in the back of their mind when they know what they saw, when they know what they heard. And that's it. You can't teach anybody anything if they're not ready to learn it. And if they're ready to learn it, they don't need you to teach it to them.
When you put down a song and somebody accuses it of sounding like Hendrix or whatever they accuse it of, I mean, you try and change it because...
Never.
Well, your albums, the tunes have sounded less and less derivative as they've gone on.
As a matter of fact, I used to say to people, the question they used to ask me are, do you think you'll ever move away from the Hendrix style? As if you should or something, you know? I mean, it's okay, you can copy the Stones, you can copy anybody in the world, you can read Fon's Bible, but we have to move away from the Hendrix style.
He's dead.
Well, so a lot of other people are dead. Robert Johnson is dead, and all sorts of guys are dead that people are influenced by. Nobody says anything about it. No, that's not it. It's because they never understood him. They didn't understand him, so they want to make him sacred.
Right.
See? And they don't understand what they can't understand. They make sacred. Don't touch it, sacred. You know?
Can you vocalize what they don't understand?
Yeah, they don't understand that he was not sacred. He was just a normal guy. He had feelings like a normal guy. He was not great. He was no genius, like people think he was. Now people would say, how could Frank Marino of all people say that Hendrix wasn't as great as we think he is? Well, screw that, man. That's why he died. I hope they know that they're responsible for him dying. Because it's thinking like that that killed him. They wouldn't let him be him. They wouldn't let him be a normal person.
Do you think he committed suicide?
Hendrix, no, he died. He just died. He had to die. You know, I believe when you have to do something, circumstances happen to make it happen. Do you understand what I'm saying? You always get what you really need, or what you really need inside. And if you really need to die, somewhere out of the blue, fate will send a killer to kill you. You know what I'm saying? Or an accident. And Hendrix died because he needed to die, because the public needed an acid god, and there he was. They made him into an acid god, exploited him, drugged him up, just wouldn't let him be a normal human being. You know, a lot of musicians out there listening, and defy that musician to say that he would not feel good if he walked into a bar and someone was doing his tune and giving him the credit for it. We'd like to do a tune by John Smith and doing his tune. They feel very good that a band would take the time and the effort to do one of his tunes. Anybody out there, and if he says that that's not true, then he's not a musician. Now, Hendrix was the same way. He was just like me, just like you. He would have been tickled to death to know that someone was going to do his song. I know I am when someone tells me they're doing my song and they're mad. I say, really? You're doing that? Rock and roll, really? Makes me feel good. And yeah, they're going, yeah, right out there, yeah, right, because they know what I'm talking about. And that is what he was all about. Let me be a real person. Stop making me have to live up to these expectations. And then even in death, they wouldn't let him be normal. He died, they made him sacred. They said, don't you dare touch Jimi Hendrix. Don't you dare. Why? Did they all miss the point? They were waiting for the ship to come in, and the ship came in the late 60s. And when that boat came in, man, everybody was down at the train station. They all missed the boat. They all missed the point. They made a god out of him for it. And everyone out there would think that I, of all people, idolized Jimi Hendrix. Idolized him.
I saw you would. I was
just a normal guy. Respect him. Understand him. That's why I wasn't able to do so well what he did. But this comes so easy when you understand.
Well, don't you think you should be doing something to tell people this?
I am.
Besides play, I mean, just interview, do you do like every interview?
Yeah, whenever anybody ever talks to me, I try to tell them in little ways. But you see, I'm a man of many moods. I could be totally different in 5 minutes. Some people I'll talk seriously with, and some people, not that I intend to not talk seriously, but I just won't. You heard me on the phone yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm a man of many, many moods. I'm very moody, and I always do exactly what I feel like.
Are you talking seriously? Or?
Yeah, I'm talking very seriously.
I thought so. You are, you're a good actor. So what, you're where you are because you really wanted it and you thought you needed it. You did need it, and that's why things fell into place for you, for the band.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is your advice then to people who want something bad?
No, wanting and believing in something is not enough. It's not enough. I've said this many times. If you were, would you pass me a Coke, a bottle of Coke in there? Sure. Hold on, audience. I'm just getting my favorite drink, Coca-Cola. Go ahead, yeah. Oh, yeah, anything you want. Want some food?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
If you are dying of a poison, and you got 30 seconds left to live, and I've got the antidote in my hand. You know it's the antidote. And I say, look, you got 30 seconds to live. Do you believe if I give you this, it's going to save your life? And I say, yes, sir. Hear me. And I don't give it to you, and I wait. And you've got 10 seconds left to live, and I say, do you still believe that this is really going to save your life? And you know you got 10 seconds left to live, and you're going to go, yeah, man. 2 seconds left, I'll ask you the same question, and you'll go, yeah, man, I believe it, and then you'll die. Why? Because believing it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to save you, man. Believing. You had to take, you had to reach out and take and do. Believing is not enough. Believing in religion is not enough. You have to do, you have to act, you have to move. People are too afraid to move, they sit in the same place. They're afraid to take chances because they're insecure. They're afraid to get told that they're wrong. They're afraid to make mistakes. You learn by mistakes. I welcome every mistake I ever make. I go, oh, at least I know I'll never make it again.
What mistakes have you made? Much mistakes in the band? What would you say? What do you do different now when you started out with the band?
Well, my main,
Dinner with Frank Marino.
Yeah, my main failing in the past had always been that I was a little bit timid. I wasn't outgoing enough. I wasn't loud enough, you know what I'm saying? Sure of myself. So because of what I was doing and the nature of what I was saying religiously in the music, I had to be timid. I wasn't outgoing enough. I wasn't loud enough, you know what I'm saying? Sure of myself. Somehow I had it in my mind that because of what I was doing and the nature of what I was saying religiously in the music, I had to be timid. And I said to myself, damn this, man. The world has seen enough lambs and slaughtered them all. From Jesus Christ to Martin Luther King. They've slaughtered them all. Enough lambs. Now it's time for a lion.
When you say all these things, right, what do you think? People that are listening now, do you want them to believe this, what you're saying?
I don't care whether they do or they don't. Because you see, whether they believe me or not, I'm not doing this totally to be a star or to have money to buy a car. I'm not. And you see, I'm coming in the back door, slowly. I'm not breaking big fast, but gradually I'm coming in that back door.
Through work.
And whether people believe me or not, the truth in the words that I say and the things that I do is truth. It'll never die. It'll be immortal. It'll last longer than the Nugents or the Aerosmiths or the people that are big and make lots of money doing rock and roll. Even if I do rock and roll.
You don't think they'll win?
Of course not. Last? What do you mean last? 2, 3, maybe 4 years? Sure, they'll last that.
Do you think you'll last?
I won't last. But what I said will last forever. And ever. Because I'm just saying what's been said 100 times before. In a different way.
So you don't think they're saying anything?
Not of the nature that I'm talking about. No, not about life and death. Not about love, God, hate, devil, you know, black and white.
Why won't you last?
Because there's about 1 million different avenues I can go down. And if I go down them, I'll do whatever is new to that avenue. Spiritually, mentally. I may be gone, you know. I may be anywhere. Maybe out in the ozone. But what I do and what I say, I never lie, see. So where I leave my footprint, it makes a print and it stays there. People may not notice it. But in time they will. And that's why I don't care if people believe me or not. Because what I'm saying is striking home inside them. And I'm talking about the truth, man. That's all. When I talk about the world anthem, I'm talking about the truth. When I talk about the man at the back door, I'm talking about the truth. The Emperor for a Strange Universe. When I talk like I'm talking now, and I'm a lot more subtle on record than I am when I talk to you, I'm talking about the damn truth. People have to get off their asses and never mind stop doing wrong things. Never mind this, you know, commandment, do this right and do that right. No, that's one part, but that's not enough. You can't let it happen anymore. There's too much. You know that everyone's going to blow themselves up soon. I hope you know that, because it's true.
The bomb, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, this is coming to a head, man. This whole thing is like... Now, I'm not saying you can change that. I'm not telling anyone out there, go out and change world affairs.
You mean the generation growing now will do it? Or
I'm saying people are going to blow themselves up. This world is going to blow itself up. May not be the end, you know, total end. But what I'm saying is there are going to be some heavy times ahead. Because of people's misconceptions, because of people's fears, because people never took the time to sit down and study about what I'm saying. Just study within themselves. Never mind go buy books. Don't go buy books. But just get into yourself, and all the answers are there. Get into nature. All the answers are there. Nature has provided, God has provided all the answers to all the questions. You just have to look for them. When the apple fell on Newton's head, that was a lesson for him, provided by nature. You know?
Well, all the things you're saying, how do you know you're right?
Remind me of the Firesign Theater record. How do you know? How do you ever really know? I can only answer this with that question. Were you a witness to the moment of your birth?
No.
I do you know you were born?
I'm here.
Yeah, that's right. How do I know I'm right? I'm here.
You could be here and wrong.
But what I'm saying is me. I'm not talking about things that I'm inventing. I'm talking about me.
The reason I say that is because a lot of people, and not you necessarily, but, are into religion, are so sure they're right, and they go around telling everybody what they should think and try and convert them.
No, there's one thing I don't do. I hope some of the Jesus freaks and the people that do that are out there listening to this, because I'm telling them this. They're doing it wrong. They're doing it absolutely wrong. They're turning everybody off. They're turning everybody against them because they're overzealous. They're just going about it in such a way that it's like turns me off. I mean, they walk up to me and say, "Hey man, have you heard the word? Have you heard the good news?" and this and that. I don't want to know about these people telling me you're wrong, you're all going to die, and you're all going to burn. They never understood anything about what it was really all about. And they come turn everybody off, and it makes my job and people like me a lot harder, that are doing it, trying to do it the right way, because people go, "Oh, not another, this," but I'm not that way. I'll never push it on anybody. They don't want it, that's fine with me. I'm still going to be their friend. I'm not going to tell them, "Go away from me, you devil." I'm not afraid. But I just know I'm right. I do what I know. I'm not they're trying to convince themselves they're right. That's why they know so much. All I know is I know I can touch my head, or I know I can bite my sandwich. Maybe I'll miss, but I know I can 90% of the time.
Well, what has proven you? I mean, where have you find yourself wrong as far as who has shown you were wrong? Have you ever been wrong about your book?
Well, no, because it's like until recently, I never made a total conclusion. It's like if you had a jigsaw puzzle and you showed me one piece, I would say to you, "That's a piece of a jigsaw puzzle." I wouldn't say to you, "That's a piece of a jigsaw puzzle with a picture of a cat on it," until I saw enough to know that it was. And as I went through life, I had lots of little jigsaw puzzle pieces that I was sure about what was on the pieces. A foot, or this, or that. And I had ideas about where it might fit together. But the puzzle is coming together now. There's a culmination of all the things that I've learned now. And it's coming together. And that's how I know. It just keeps on progressing and progressing. And as that puzzle gets bigger and bigger, that's why I may leave that little corner that I talked about. I may go somewhere else, but it's still going to be there. It's the truth.
What about the guys in the band? Are they the same way?
No. Not at all.
What do they say when you tell them?
They don't say anything.
They're just into the music?
Yeah. They don't freak out about it, about what I'm into. Everybody knows I'm into it. But they, I guess you could say they try to humor me. Deep inside, they believe. They didn't, if they didn't, they wouldn't be here. They'd leave.
What about the music that you play? How long can that last? The music, hard rock like that. It's been around for a long time. How much longer do you think? What do you think music will go?
I don't know. Seems to be one of the dogs. A lot of punk rock music I haven't listened to, Probably come full circle.
What about the people who listen to hard rock, listen to the music that you play? Well, what do you call your music?
Never could define it, Had all kinds of definitions. So the other day we said, "Listen, why don't we run an ad in all the major cities in the United States and say, you can win a free record," or something like that. So you just send in a piece of paper, just write down how you would call Mahogany Rush's music without using any of the music that's around hard rock or rock this, or give it a name. It could be an interesting thing to see what the people would write in and say.
Well, what do you call a song like Johnny Be Good?
Johnny Be Good, well, it's a rock and roll song. but it's not really done like a rock and roll band, you know. It isn't really.
Do you try to do newer music? Music that hasn't been done?
I used to, you know. I used to try little things, but now I'm just sort of coasting and I'm just doing what comes natural. It's kind of like I'm taking a vacation, you know what I mean? Mentally. And I'm just doing things that come natural to me. This August I'll be getting back into studio, do another album.
What's it going to be? You thought about it yet?
No. It'll either be another studio album.
I mean, it's not far away, it's not.
It'll either be another studio album or it'll be a live album in a club.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that inspired by anything?
Why did somebody do that?
The Stones did it.
In a club?
Yeah, Lovely Live was, they did the El Macambo Club. You heard of that?
Oh yeah, in Toronto.
And they, did one of these surprise ticket things.
You know that?
You didn't know that?
Yeah, how was the album?
It was pretty good. It was all, the club stuff was mostly blues, like all the blues, Red Rooster, stuff like that. I can't believe you haven't heard that. Don't you listen to,
I don't have records, man.
why not?
I'm never into it. You know, buy records and record player and put on records. I work with my race cars, that's how I relax.
How long have you been in the cars? You always tinker
A few years now. I build heavy motors, really heavy motors.
Why do you like cars?
I like the power. I like building a motor of 1,500 horsepower, 2,000 horsepower, and going down a quarter mile, 250 miles an hour, 6 seconds.
What, do you listen to any bands now? Are there any bands you listen to?
You know, I have a little radio I put on. Plastic radio. I'm not really into high fidelity equipment, you know.
Why did you do live albums?
Really, I didn't want to myself. But David, my manager, David Krebs, convinced me to. He just kept telling me, look, the band is so good live, and the band does so well live, and this and that live. I said, David, we're not ready for a live album. You know, we always have a tune and everything. By recording enough shows, we came up with a decent live album. I like it. I think it's good.
Was it, how many shows was that a composite of, or was that one show? One more by the answer to that.
Well, we did 12 shows, but we ended up using mostly 1 or 2 shows, maybe 3, for the whole thing.
You know, the live album has gotten probably the biggest response.
Yeah.
Why is that?
David was right.
Why live albums have put over a lot of bands? I hate to mention his name, but Brandon, for example.
Why do you hate to mention his name?
I can't stand him.
Really?
You like him?
No, but he's all right.
Well, I'd say he was a lot more tolerable until you put out that next album after I'm in You, the cover with him with the Silks. And hey, I am so cute.
He's okay. Just another guy doing his thing, man. He suffered for a long time. He deserves it. Even Dad deserves it.
It just seems like when he does something like that, when he puts himself, it's like he takes the audience for suckers, you know, that they'll buy it.
No, he's not doing that, man. No.
Really?
He really likes what he does. He does.
Why does he put himself on a cover like that?
Why did Hendrix make an acid god out of himself? I mean, you get to a point where...
Well, this is a little more concrete. This is a picture. Why would he? I'm sure he has...
You know what I'm saying? It's a picture, too. You see all these pictures of Jimi Hendrix in smoke and with weird eyes and eyes on his shirts and all this stuff. You know, it's image. It's image and like... D. Anthony, he knew what the public wanted, and believe me, they wanted that I'm in You. It turned off some of his older fans that were into his music, but that's only because they never really understood the business, that there's just certain things you have to do that you don't want to do, you know? You have to. But for instance, I don't like traveling in limousines because of my affinity for sports cars. I like sports. I hate traveling in limousines. I have to travel in limousines. You know what I'm saying?
Can you get other cars?
Yeah, well, we did that, rented cars and this and that, but there was so much problem. It was so much easier to have a promoter or whatever rent a limo, pick us up and take us back. You know, I don't like it. And I don't like that thing, but it's in the background. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh no, the music is, I really like the line though. It has different sounds and studio stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was wondering, why maybe it was the sound of the live stuff that did it. Or do you think that maybe they were listening and they thought, well, here's a whole crowd that likes the family of the audience?
No, because I think what it was that live album was really indicative of what we were like to see live. Mm-hmm. Really. I mean, tonight you'll hear the tunes and you'll see. They're exactly like the live album.
Well, you said were like, still do the same thing as the live album?
Yeah, we had some things, so yeah, a couple of things extra.
Don't you, well, you've already told me you don't care what they think, but aren't you worried whether people might, you say, well, hey, I gotta stay home and listen to the album?
Well, we don't do only the live album. This is the live album and some extra things. What do they want? What do they want? When I didn't do my songs from my records, like when I had my other albums out, I used to do the kind of stuff that's on the live album. I never did the songs from my records, from my studio albums, maybe one or two. And they go, well, we feel we should have come and heard the songs from your records, your recent records. So now I put out an album and I go out and I do all the songs from my record and they say, well, we could have stayed home and listened to the live album. Well, stay home. What the fuck do they want? You know? It's ridiculous.
What, do you think about what they want at all? I mean, you said you don't care what they think. You must think something about it.
Sure I care. I mean, I don't care if someone wants to put me down. You know, if they're going to cop an attitude, then I don't care. Like in retaliation for your attitude, I don't care. You know? But I do care. Of course I have to care. They're the people that are going to make me or break me, not for anyone else. I have to care about it to an extent. I'm not going to care about it to the point where they dictate what I do because they don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going.
You listen to your management, if they tell you that you're going to go for bigger, well, you obviously listen by putting a live out there.
Yeah, but it wasn't just for that reason.
Have they told you things you didn't want to do?
Yeah, oh yeah. I never did it.
What's an example?
The certain songs.
They told you what songs to play?
Sometimes they say, why don't you try this one? Sometimes even say, why don't you wear this instead of that, you know? Like all sorts of things. Move a little bit here or try to do this. I don't want to know. I don't do what anybody tells me. I never had a job in my life and I only have 26 days in high school.
You only have 26 days?
Yeah.
Did you drop out?
Yeah, well, I was taking off an awful lot, that's for sure.
So, what's the future like? What are you going to do next?
The album in August.
And that's, just take one of those avenues.
Whatever happens. Just like I told the kid when he asked me, looks like you should move away. And then, well, when will you be moving away? I told him, I said, when it changes, I'll be the last one to fight it. But I'll also be the last one to make it change. I mean, when I go to the toilet, I sit down and let it all hang out. Alright? I don't push.
Well, I'm here deciding whether I'm going to let this go on the air. If you're hearing this, listeners, and I thought it was worth the risk.
I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of listeners out there who know that the more you push, the more you can get hemorrhoids.
Now, say something I can put on. Give us a closing statement.
A closing statement.
That I can put on the air. I'll probably run this anyway and risk my license on that.
All I can say is, I feel a lot more like I do now than I did before.
Wait, let me. Are you serious? I'm in a serious state.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I leave it at that, people are going to go, what? Well, what did she just explain?
Nope.
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 Say it again.
I feel a lot more like I do now than I did before.
You heard it, folks. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.